Hello everybody and welcome to another expanded deck guide. Today we're going to be looking at Amanda Sharpe, the student. She has 2s in all of her stats, so you know her ability has got to be good. Her ability is Forced. At the start of the investigation phase, draw 1 card. Discard the card beneath Amanda Sharpe and choose a card from your hand and place it beneath her. Her reaction is at the start of a skill test you are performing, commit the card beneath Amanda if able. Do not discard it when the test ends. Her elder sign is +0 for this test. You may double the number of skill icons on the card beneath Amanda Sharpe. So, obviously, you want to get good value from the cards that you are going to be putting underneath Amanda Sharpe. And you're looking at whenever possible, taking a test for every one of your actions when there's a really good card on Amanda. There's this nice little balancing act that Amanda comes with where sometimes you can be like, all right, here's my turn where I put a perception or a deduction beneath me, and I just use all my actions to absolutely tear the game open. And then there's the turns when you don't need to. You can just put something small or a defensive card beneath it, like a Curiosity is a great card that can also work both actively and then also defensively for Amanda. So there's a lot of great things you can do with Amanda's skill. The big downside of Amanda is when you're just starting out, I feel like when you don't really know how to play her, she can be very fragile. That's a big part because, as you can see in the weaknesses that Travis put in, she has poor base stats. 2s across the board, which means that if you don't have skills in your hand to put into play, or you're not building around the fact that you have 2s in all of your stats, it can kind of be a little bit troublesome. Her deck size is 30. She can play secret cards 0 to 5, neutral 0 to 5, and practiced 0 to 3. So that opens up a lot of really nice skill cards for Amanda. Her strengths, high value from proactive skills, as I was talking about with the deductions and the perceptions and many other exciting things that we're going to be talking about in all these notable cards. And she also has high draw power. Her draw power, when you can really get her going, which doesn't take much, is insane. It's kind of broken in a way. When you don't know how to play Amanda or when you're just starting out, she can be very difficult. When you know how to play this game, Amanda might be one of the easiest investigators you'll ever get a win with. She's just absolutely crazy. Her personal, obscure studies. Oh, sorry, I guess I should go to the weaknesses. So we have poor base stats, and then the other weaknesses is we'll see weaknesses multiple times. This is going to be relevant for Whispers of the Deep. And then also, depending on the weakness you get, this can be really annoying. If you get, for example, overzealous, that's going to be a little bit frustrating because you're going to be cycling through your deck a lot. So if you have to draw multiple overzealouses, that's a little bit yucky. If you get something that's whatever the weakness is where you take a horror whenever you deal damage to an enemy, most of the time you're like, okay, that's cool, now I'm ready to just go. However, if you have a rough weakness that you draw multiple times, for example, what is the one that makes you discard your hand? Because that one also can be really rough if you get it with Amanda. So her basic weakness has the potential to be really bad for her. Her personal is Obscure Studies. Amanda Sharpe deck only, fast, play when you initiate a skill test, return the card beneath Amanda Sharpe to your hand, and place Obscure Studies beneath her. This has a ton of great uses. The obvious one is that you can use it to pull back the Whispers from the Deep and then commit Whispers to the Deep to only that test. It also can pull back something like an Unrelenting or a Deduction or a Perception even that you want to use multiple times. It's a really nice versatile card. Truth be told, in my recent Amanda playthrough, it kind of just sat in my hand because it was just basically part of my hand size, but there's still a lot of cool things you can do with Obscure Studies that make it really good. And then there is the weakness, Whispers from the Deep. This skill icon subtract from your skill value instead of adding to it. When choosing a card to place beneath Amanda Sharpe, if Whispers from the Deep is in your hand, you must choose it. So if you draw it during the upkeep phase and you don't get a test in the Mythos phase, or if you draw it at the start of the investigation phase, you need to put this on Amanda. However, if at any point you draw it during your turn, commit it to a test you are performing, or commit it to a test someone else at your location is performing, because for some reason you can do that. And it makes it so much easier to get rid of this weakness. It's kind of wild when you just look at Amanda and then you look at this weakness that kind of just does nothing. Sometimes you do get Whispers from the Deep and it has to go underneath Amanda. You just kind of like take the turn off there, or alternatively just use your giant hand size to do things, or frickin' draw more cards. Cards are always fun. And that's Amanda. Anything you guys want to add on before I get to the core set?
I think that covers it.
Yeah, she's one of those investigators that is a little bit tougher to build with a small collection, I think.
Yes, definitely.
Like it's a lot more difficult to get to that sort of brokenness you were talking about with without certain cards, and if you don't have them, she's still a fine investigator, but power level definitely scales with card pool for her.
Yeah, card pool, and then also experience too. Because even if you have a full collection, it's your first time playing the game, you're going to have a nightmare with Amanda. All right, Bryn, why don't you start us off with some of these core set cards that are mostly staples?
All right. We got the magnifying glass. This is one of the clue gathering staples. If you have, it's because it makes your book better. Dr. Milan Christopher, he's just a yellow staple. He does the same make your book better thing, but lots of money. Mm-hmm. Working a hunch, it's a clue gathering staple. It's just a fast effect, grabs you a clue. We got deduction, which is, again, a yellow staple, but I think worth talking about in the context of Amanda Sharpe, because if you put it underneath her, you can gather 6 clues in a turn with just basic investigate actions, and that's kind of sick. Mm-hmm. We got vicious blow. It is a lot of clues, right? Like, admittedly, you need either a shortcut or to be playing with a very high player count, but, if either of those things are true, still real good. Even if you only get to fire this thing off twice.
Yeah, that's still really nice.
It's still good. Vicious Blow is here for much the same reason. Although, with only 2 punch, you are going to have to do a little bit of work to make this do something. Mm-hmm. But if you do, 3 Vicious Blows is a lot of extra damage.
Yeah, Amanda Sharpe sits in this spot where she can kind of also attack when we get to some of the other cards that are going to be coming up. And I mean, also, if you're going to be drawing a million cards, you can also just help out your fighter in the true Seeker way, being like, don't worry, I'll help you literally every way that I can.
Yep.
Don't worry, I'll just do everything.
Yeah.
We got a flashlight. It's one of the neutral staple cards. Just makes it easier to investigate, especially if your number is not very good, like a 2. Mm-hmm. We got perception. This card is kind of crazy. You get to investigate with a big number, and then you get to draw probably 3 cards.
Yeah.
That's really good. Unexpected Courage, you just get to play the game as though any of your numbers were 4s this turn. Mm-hmm. That's pretty all right. Or you can throw it at somebody else's test.
Yeah.
It's just a good card.
Looking at these core sets, one thing that I did myself with Amanda, and something I've seen some other players do with their first time with Amanda, is there's like, obviously, we're going to get to a card, I'm pretty sure it's on this list, Laboratory Assistant, which draws you cards, and you have this hand size Amanda, and that's really nice. But when you're just like, especially at the level 0 deck, cards like Magnifying Glass and Dr. Milan Christopher are very important. Not just because they're staples and they're good, but also because they help you get your book to a point where when your deck has a lower power level, or as Travis was saying, if your collection is smaller, do not overlook cards like Dr. Milan Christopher or Magnifying Glass, because they do give you that book boost in addition to the skills that you're going to put underneath it. Because like if you look at Amanda, if you just put a perception, you're only investigating at 4. That's not a good number. With Dr. Milan and Magnifying Glass, that now becomes 6. That is a good number. Travis.
Yeah, I got our upgrade magnifying glass here, which is just a better version of the previous magnifying glass. And I got some experience cards. in Disc of Examina as just an easy way to kill enemies, so you don't have to rely on your fighter or that garbage to fight or to foot. And then Cryptic Research, which is like, it's pretty good for Amanda to just draw 3 cards.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
All right, we're on to Dunwich. We got Shortcut, staple card. We talk about that in the staple videos, which you can find down in the description. Inquiring Mind is a good starting skill, especially if you have a smaller collection. It gives you 3 wild symbols if there's clear location. And when you're going to be taking tests, it's probably going to be to investigate. So like that basically just says +3 for your investigate tests for that round. William T. Mailson, he is a great soak. He soaks for 2 and 2 for only 1. You can also place clues down to cancel encounter cards that you draw. And instead, then you can shuffle and draw a new one. This is really good for Amanda because if you draw something you don't want, you can get rid of it. And also, you probably picked up an excess number of clues with your deductions because, like, that's what you do. Down on this bottom row, we have 5 staples. Pathfinder helps you move more. Upgraded deduction gives you more clues if you succeed by 2, which you probably will. This does get lower value at like lower player counts, but there's some locations that have 4 clues, or some locations, especially when you get to 3 or 4 players, where deduction 2 is really good. Relic Hunter Charisma if you want more accessories or allies, and then upgraded Vicious Blow just deals more damage if you succeed by 2. Bryn, why don't you take these guys?
We got the Strange Solutions. Now, at first glance, these cards all look like the same one. But if we read them a little closer, it turns out, do other things. The level 0 one is Test Book 4. If you succeed, discard Strange Solution, draw 2 cards, and record in your campaign log that you have identified the solution. So it doesn't really do too much. However, the upgraded solutions that you can include in your deck for identifying the solution. We've got the Restorative Concoction, possibly the worst, but I'm not here to tell you that. It starts with 4 supplies. As an action, you can spend a supply to heal 2 damage from an investigator at your location. If you want to be healing, I suppose this is a very good way to go about it. We got the Acidic Ichor. This one starts with 3 supplies instead of 4 because it is the best one. And you get to fight with a base punch of 6. The attack deals +2 damage. So if you've got this in play, and you're fighting an Urmordoth, for example, or perhaps a hapless Ghoul Priest, and you have a Vicious Blow underneath you,
my God.
you can just about one-round them.
Yeah.
At most player counts.
That would be naughty.
That would be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you get the level 2 version, you're dealing, 5 damage and attack per on it, pretty much?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hurling out damage like it's nobody's business. And lastly here we have the Freezing variant. This one just has 4 supplies, and you get to evade at a base foot of 6, which it can be good. It's a lot better at lower player counts, where sometimes you just want to not have to fight a guy. But even at the higher player counts, it is a solid way to deal with enemies. Not as good as just melting them into goo, but it'll work. And we've got the Red Gloved Man. He is good as always, but particularly good here because you get to pick 2 of your skills and set their bases to 6. He leaves at the end of the turn because he's here for a good time, not a long time. But as we can see, setting any of our numbers to 6 is a +4 value, which for 2 money is pretty good.
Yeah, 2 money and fast.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't even have to pay the action.
Yeah.
And he'll take any damage we take that turn.
Yeah.
It's kind of sweet. It's another solid way to abuse the turns where you get to play with Vicious Blow.
Yeah.
Just set your punch to 6, and you know the rest.
Yeah, just have a party. As I've played more Amanda, she's less of a student. Like, I understand, like, the ideas that she's learning and, like, getting better. But she really just feels like a Dr. Manhattan-esque, like, near-God superhero. It's kind of wild. All right, Travis, are you ready for the smallest path to Carcosa ever?
Yeah, I believe it. First up, we got Eureka. It's just a skill with like a on success ability, which is gonna be a common theme in Amanda. Skills that do things when you succeed are pretty good for her because you can use them multiple times in a turn. This one happens to selectively reload your hand, as well as providing different kinds of symbols, which is a unique kind of flexibility for Amanda. So you could like use this to help you evade an enemy that you drew in the enemy phase, and then investigate twice or something like that. Next up, we got Forewarned. So to cancel treachery cards, pretty good when your stats are garbage. We got Shortcut level 2 here. The free movement abilities are exceptionally strong for Amanda because they enable you to set up turns where you get to use your skills, all 3 actions, more frequently. So if you put deduction under Amanda this turn and clear all the clues off, then use a shortcut to move somewhere else and spend another deduction your next turn, or the rest of that deduction on that turn to get full value from it. We got No Stone Turn. These are just solid yellow cards that can help you find key pieces to your build or your teammates as well. They also commit for the level 0 commits for a wild, which is not ideal, but like level 0 deck, it's acceptable. And then we got KVs, which is pretty good for most investigators.
All right, on to the Forgotten Age. We got Truth from Fiction. This places 2 secrets on an asset you control, but you can only play it if there's a clue at your location. So if you're looking for secrets, for example, some of the cards we're going to be talking up here, it's very relevant there. Also, what's nice to know about Truth from Fiction is you can also look at this card and you see Book for skill icons that can be committed. This is relevant because sometimes you're not going to have a skill to put underneath it and you're just trying to look for the next best thing depending on what you need. Quick Study. It's a talent. Lightning Bolt, place 1 of your clues on your location, exhaust it. You get +3 skill value for this skill test. This you can do like some tricks with a deduction if you really wanted to. If you have a deduction on you, you can just like ensure you pass the test. But as we've kind of been talking about, a running theme for Amanda is, hey, I get clues so efficiently I'm not too worried about dropping some clues down. It also can work well with Truth from Fiction if you need to load up some of the things we're going to be talking about at the bottom of this page. Exposed from Weakness. This is where it's a 0-cost inside event. It's fast. Play during any Lightning Bolt player window. Choose an enemy location. Test book X, where X is that enemy's fight value. If you succeed, treat that enemy's fight value as if it were 0 for the next attack performed against it this phase. Draw 1 card. So this does a few things. It helps you, if you're playing like a combat Amanda, it can help you use those vicious blows to your advantage. Another thing it can also kind of do, which is a little bit cheeky, is it can replace itself with a better card by basically being a book test when you have a perception underneath you. The last thing it also can do is it commits for book wild or fist wild. So those are nice symbols as well for Amanda. We're coming to the Ancient Stones, and like the Strange Solution, these all look the same, but if you look closer, they vary slightly. So the first one is the unidentified version. Investigate your location, gets +3 Shroud for this investigation. If you succeed, discover 1 additional clue, discard it, and record in your campaign log that you have identified the stone. Next to this, record the difficulty of the test. The difficulty matters because the next two, the Knowledge of the Elders and the Minds in Harmony, they depend on the number of the difficulty level of the test that you succeeded to identify it. So they come in with that many secrets. The Knowledge of the Elders has when you draw any number of cards, spend that many secrets, deal that much damage to an enemy or location. I've seen Travis kill spiders with this. It is not to be messed around with. It's very... It makes everyone else feel like they're not contributing. So if you want to, also manage enemies while drawing cards, this is a great option for that. Another thing that when we go back to the translation, Amanda can probably get through this test pretty easy because she's hand size and skills. And it costs 1 experience to put in, so you probably also have something like an Unrelenting in your deck already, which means that you're going to have cards in hand to make this test easy to pass. The Minds in Harmony is when you draw any number of cards, spend that many secrets, heal that much horror from a card at your location. Obviously less exciting than the damage one, but still healing for doing something that you're doing anyway. And it's a card at your location, so it can heal other investigators, it can heal allies. That is very relevant, and if you're playing with shrewd analysis, this is a great way of going about it. Last card here is we got the Narcotic Manuscripts. Uses 3 secrets. When investigate a location, perform a skill test during a revelation effect, spend 1 secret. Do not reveal chaos tokens for that test. Or spend a secret, choose an investigate location, do not reveal chaos tokens for the next skill test that investigator performs this round. This is a very strong card that I feel like, especially on the card of the day that this recently happened on our Discord channel, doesn't get as much respect as it used to. But this is still just a really strong effect. Passing a test when you want to pass a test means you can put exactly what you want into it and have no risk. It's very strong, very fun, and it's also able to be refilled now too, which makes it even juicier. All right, Bryn, on to the Circle Undone. I'll throw these to you.
All right, we've got a fingerprint kit. This is a clue gathering. Everything's a staple card. That's all of them. But this one just gets you more clues with your actions. We got Connect the Dots. I don't like this card, but I can see where it would be good. For 4 money at Fast, you get to discover 2 locations at a location with lower printed shroud value than your location. However, you can only play it after you discover the last clue at your location. So it does require a little bit of, you got to know that the cards in your deck and maybe be leaving clues about to be able to get them with the Connect the Dots. But if you can, I think it's quite strong. We got Curiosity. This one's just 3 book or 3 brain. Admittedly, you have to have a bunch of cards in your hand, but you're yellow, so that probably shouldn't be too hard. And you do kind of get to commit this to everything that turn. So that's kind of sweet. We got Prophesy, much the same as the Curiosity. Only it cares about the amount of doom in play. If you want to be using this one when there's 6 or more. So then you get 3 wild, and you get to play the game as though your base numbers were 5. That's kind of sweet.
Yeah, and when do tests really matter? Usually when you're about to lose because of doom. So
this is true. We've got to Crack the Case. This card's just free money. You're literally losing money every second that you're not putting this card in your deck. So do that. The Hawkeye Folding Camera. This one's also, it gives you plus a brain once you've taken 1 picture, plus a book once you got 2, and plus a sanity when you got 3. Assets that just give you plus numbers to the ones that you're going to want to be testing, or that the game will make you test, are just strong. Mm-hmm. We got the Grizzly Totem. So no surprise here. One of the cards that says after you commit a card to a skill test is kind of good, because that's what we're doing. Mm-hmm. This one exhausts 2, choose one of the card's icons and give it another one. And we got the Ghastly Revelation. I like this card a lot, but I've never actually had a reason to play with it yet. It does commit for 2 books, which is very strong, given that its effect defeats you. It is 0 cost. Discover 3 clues at your location. Give any number of your clues to another investigator, or place any number of your clues on any location. You are defeated and suffer 1 mental trauma. This action does not provoke attacks of opportunity. So there are a lot of situations where just discovering 3 clues for 1 action might win you the game. Well, maybe not you particularly, because you get defeated, but you know what I'm saying. Don't play this one in the asylum.
YouTube, if this happens where there's ever a situation where it's like, discover 3 clues, and then the agenda says immediately advance, does the rest of the card resolve, or does it stop there?
I imagine it's got to all resolve, right?
I imagine too, but YouTube, one thing I learned recently was that you can't shuffle a card into a deck that's empty.
that sounds wrong.
Yeah, that was my thought. I was like, oh, that doesn't really... Like, I know you can't shuffle it, but like...
Like, it's technically not shuffling, but you are shuffling the card in.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a weird one. All right, Travis, why don't you finish the Circle Undone?
Sure. Got that 13 cards stack book boost. That's quite often free from get your opening hand. We got the Grizzly Totem. Yellow Grizzly Totem is very, very good for Amanda. It gives you an extra symbol onto the card and also replaces the card to help keep your hand full. Excuse me. We've got our Esoteric Atlas here. Again, movement effects are quite strong for Amanda Sharpe. The less actions you spend moving, the more actions you can spend using your skills on relevant turns. And Studious is just more cards in hand for Amanda is always nice.
Alrighty, we are on to Dream Eaters. So Travis, I'll take the other ones, but you can talk about why Practice Makes Perfect is good in Amanda.
Yay. So Practice Makes Perfect is good in Amanda because you play lots of skills. And this card rewards you for playing skills. And so your most powerful skills are one of your most powerful skills is deduction, which is practiced. Perception is also up there, especially if you can get the upgraded version. Being able to pull those out of your deck and use them as many times in a scenario as possible is very conducive to winning. Practice Makes Perfect allows you to pull one out, for example, deduction out for an investigation check, and then you get it back to your hand so you can put it underneath Amanda. So not only does it draw you your deduction, but you get free use out of it.
Yeah, and in addition as well, practiced skills are what you also run as your 0 to 3. So you're going to have targets. You're probably going to play this in all Amanda decks if you have it in your collection. It's very good in her. Like, it's very good generally, but it's also very good in her. We have the Dream Diary. This is a 2-cost, untranslated hand asset that you get to... It's an action to search your bonded cards for the essence of the dream and add it to your hand. As a reaction, after you succeed by 3 or more during a skill test to which the essence of the dream is committed, record in your campaign log that you have interpreted the dreams. Essence of the dream, as you can see, is a wild practice skill, and it's bonded when it would be discarded or shoved into your deck. Set it aside out of play. Obviously, you want to translate this. The sooner the better. And when you do, you get either the dreams of the explorer, the madman, or the child. And they basically each give the essence of the dream 2 additional wild symbols, depending on if you are at a 4-shroud location, if there's an enemy, if you're engaged with an enemy, or if you have 8 cards in hand. So all of them have the investigators that want them. And so if you're like a combat Amanda, the engaged one, the madman's really good. If you're a big high-end size Amanda, the 8 cards in hand is really good. And the 4-shroud one also can just be good, but it really kind of just depends on what build you're going for. In addition, you actually can like just keep it in your hand on the turn that you gain it, don't commit it, and then you can put Essence of the Dream underneath Amanda, and then you get like +4 to your skills for a turn. That's like a red glove man, baby. Momentum is kind of disgusting in Amanda. So this one is when it's committed, you reduce the difficulty of the next skill test you perform by X, where X is the amount you succeeded by, to a maximum of 3. If this is underneath Amanda, you basically just cascade into the easiest tests of your life. It's kind of wild, and it allows it that you can just like pass the first one and then start doing your juicy stuff on like the second and the third to really take advantage of it. It's just really nice in Amanda, and you should consider playing it, because it's also really good. You investigate, reduce it by 3, then you do like a brain test that's part of an encounter card. There's a lot of cool tricks you can do. And then there's Eye of Truth. This is a 4 wild, 5 experience. When you use it on a treachery and it's successful, you put that treachery in the victory display, attach Eye of Truth to it. Whenever someone makes a test on that treachery, when it's drawn another copy, you get the symbols. So this is good if you like. It's especially good when you know the campaigns, like what you want to be afraid of. But the card's just sick. Like, look at that eye. You know you want it. It's like Hypnotoad saying, play me, play me.
You know.
It is also practice, so like if you just want to be like an absolute baller, just use it on the treachery when you get it. Like use practice makes perfect, get it, and then just be like, wait a minute, I didn't get full value. And then everyone laughs at you, and Travis doesn't know why, but his back hurts somewhere, and it's because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time Travis has back pain, it's because someone used practice makes perfect wrong. Somewhere out there in the world. I'll take the Black Cat. I think this is a pretty small frame here. But the Black Cat, 2 cost, 5 experience, soaks for 3 and 3, turns the cultist, the tablet, the squid, and the elder sign symbols into different things, turns the scary ones into -1. He takes a direct damage or a direct horror, and the elder sign becomes +5. Heal all damage and horror from the Black Cat. Just a really good ally. Really good. Also commits for 2 wild if you want to put him under Amanda because you are the madman. Alright, Bryn, we are in Innsmouth.
All right. Well, as the slide says, for a more detailed breakdown of the cursed or blessed archetype, we've got a video for that. The cards that are notable here, we've got the Cryptographic Cipher. This card allows you to take an extra investigate action during your turn, which is really good if you're getting to play the entire turn with deduction. We got Plan of Action. This one's just a cool skill card. Commits for a wild, but if it's the first action of the turn, it gets a brain and a foot. If it is in between those, the first and the third action, you draw a card if it succeeds, and if it is on the third action or after, it gets plus punch and plus brain. Just kind of a lot of icons. Can do all kinds of things.
One thing to note about Plan of Action is it does not give you brain during the Mythos phase, because the Mythos phase is not your turn. And I feel like every time we say this in a video, we ruin somebody's day, so I apologize if that person is you.
I already have it errated in my head to work the way that it should.
Yeah, ditto.
Like I'm not gonna let Fantasy Flight tell me that I gotta play their cards bad. Though maybe I should. We got Promise of Power. This card's just sick. And it's also sick here. There are no decks that can play Promise of Power that it should not be played in, and in this case, it's like the Red Glove Man, but for no XP. That's kind of just it. We got the Truth Beckons. It is 1 cost. Play only if you are not engaged with an enemy. You choose an unrevealed location. You move 1 location at a time along the shortest path toward that location until you enter that location. And this effect, if you reveal a location, if an enemy engages you, or if your movement is blocked. Just a lot of potential movement in a single card.
Man, I love it, Bryn, when you and I get a card we don't know and we read it out loud because we just don't know. We're like, what the frick does this do?
I know what it does. I just don't know quite how it does it, and I don't want to say it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Shortcut but different. You know, way to compress the movement actions. We got Guided by the Unseen. This one is 2 costed, uses 4 secrets, and as a lightning bolt during a test at your location, the performing investigator may search the top 3 cards of their deck for a card that can be committed to the skill test. You may spend 1 secret to commit that card. Shuffle the performing investigator's deck. My favorite part about this one is that you don't have to commit the card. You can just be like, hey, do you got something neat to commit? Yeah, sucks. And that's that. However, your deck also probably has a ton of things that are good to commit to all sorts of different tests. So why not just draw 4 of them when they're relevant? That'd be cool. Got the level 4 Hyper Awareness. This one commits for like all kinds of symbols and has uses to resources. You replenish them at the start of each turn, and you can spend 1 of the resources to get +1 book or +1 foot during one of the relevant skill tests. You can also spend resources from your resource pool, that same effect. Well, it's just kind of good. You can either be better at investigating, or when you want to run, you really want to run.
Mm-hmm.
We got ancestral knowledge, which if you don't play, you're a coward. I'm just kidding. This one's not actually that. You don't have to play it. It's permanent. It's exceptional. You have to include at least 10 skills in order to include this in your deck. Your deck size is increased by 5. So really, you only need to have 5 skills before you include this card, because
Yeah, you just throw
your
in a
deck
few.
size will
Yeah.
be increased and you can load it with more skills.
Yeah, give me this, give me that, I'll take it.
But also, if you're playing an Amanda Sharpe deck that doesn't have 10 skills,
Yeah, what are you doing?
like, why aren't you playing one of the different ones? This one is as a reaction effect. Before you draw your opening hand, you attach 5 random non-weakness skills from your deck, to this face down to this card. This is one of the few cards where it matters that the cards are face down. And as a lightning bolt, you can exhaust it to draw one of the attached skills. Just it's like you get to start with a 10-card opening hand, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
6 XP, but still good.
I mean, I've played with it. It doesn't actually increase your, some people might be thinking, why don't you guys, versatile increases your deck size. This increases your deck size. It really doesn't, because it takes 5 cards out. So you still have the same deck size. But it's good. It's good. It's not particularly exciting, and it doesn't, I think, help you win the game. It just adds some consistency, which is good. Travis, why don't you finish off Innsmouth?
Sure, we got 2 very, very powerful skills here. One of them is Justify the Means, which you just get to pass tests for the low, low price of curse tokens.
Yeah.
But sometimes that doesn't matter if you pass the test you need to. Other one is Unrelenting, which is is really good for Amanda. Actually broken.
Yeah.
It just lets you refill your entire hand every turn that you want to, or not every turn. This isn't Silas.
But yeah.
But more than enough.
Yeah, you just gotta play it 3 times, maybe 4 in the Mythos phase. It's kind of wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, on to Edge of the Earth. Here we got Forced Learning. It's a permanent where you only have 1. Your deck size is increased by 15, and during the upkeep, instead of drawing 1 card, you draw 2 and discard 1 of them. This can be nice because it can help you find the skills that you want to play, and it can help you just get the start, just basically find the tools you need to play the best Amanda you can play. This is also a fine thing to do if you're not too happy with your weakness, because even though it increases the draw, so in theory you'll get to it quicker, you're also just the majority of your draw on Amanda is going to be on your own turn, so the Forced Learning is going to impact her a lot less than it would someone else who's just playing it. We have In the Thick of It. This is another one. You buy it at deck creation, limit 1 per deck. When you purchase it, you take 2 physical or mental trauma, then you earn 3 experience. This is a great way to buy your Unrelentings early. Or something else if you want, but the deck, Amanda with Unrelenting and Amanda without Unrelenting, there's big difference there.
Yeah, that's the only reason this is here.
Yeah.
What do you mean it's not here to buy versatile?
Yeah, don't do that.
Honestly, Amanda has everything she needs. She is living the perfect life. She doesn't need a versatile to get a lucky cigarette case. She's doing fine. I know now someone's going to be like, no, but lucky cigarette case and Amanda sounds great. She's fine. She's fine. Hiking Boots. This is a card that kind of does a bad impression of a Pathfinder, but it's also still kind of fine. Get +1 foot, and after the last clue is discovered from your location, exhaust it. Move to a connecting location with at least 1 clue, or to a connecting unrevealed location. So it's just some free movement, some foot boost, which doesn't really matter. And if you just want the movement, that's kind of nice.
Man, I should have been playing that in Echo Roland.
Oh, yeah. We have 2 on the trails, level 1 and level 3. The level 1, choose an enemy at a location other than yours. Either move twice towards that enemy or discover one clue at an empty location between you and the chosen enemy along the shortest path to reach that enemy. And then the upgraded one, which is choose an enemy at any location other than yours. Move twice towards that enemy. Discover one clue at each location entered by this effect. This is great for killing Amanda. It's also fine for just normal Amanda. And, like, look at those skill icons on the level 3 version. Like, we don't want to pay level 3 for a perception that doesn't draw you a card. But in a pinch, those aren't bad symbols to have on the card on standby. Janae Beauregard. She's great. She gives you a book and a foot. And then during your turn, after you move to a location, exhaust or move a clue or a non-elite enemy from a connecting location to your location or vice versa. That sounds like a very mild effect, but it is incredibly strong. It's wild how strong that ability is when you put it into practice. And it's especially great with Amanda because you can just be like, get the fuck out of here, ghoul. I'm too busy getting clues. She's a very good ally for Amanda. She's a very good ally for anyone who can play her, but we're talking about Amanda today. We then have Ian Chart 1 and 4. 3 secrets each. During your turn, exhaust Ian Chart, spend 1 secret, choose and take one of the following actions: move, evade, or investigate. The level 4 version is choose and take 2 of the following actions in any order: move, evade, and investigate. Free actions, and also some movement built into the upgraded one in addition to an investigate. This is really good because, as we've been saying throughout this entire video, the more actions you can take with the card that's underneath Amanda, the better your game will be, right? Like, you can now take 4 deductions easily while also moving between some of those. Like, that's... Man, you throw a shortcut in there, oh my god. That would be an absolutely insane turn. They write songs about that kind of turn in this game. All right, Bryn, we're on to the return 2 boxes. I'll throw these to you.
All right. We got the level 2 preposterous sketches. This one, it costs 0. Play it only if there's a clue at your location. Draw 3 cards. If there's anything I know from playing Magic, it's that if you get to pay 1 to draw 3 cards, you're in great shape. Mm-hmm. You get to pay 0 to draw 3 cards. That just sounds amazing. Mm-hmm. We got one of the different strange solutions. This one is like real weird. It's like poop to gold or something. You spend 1 of the supplies and exhaust it to choose an investigator at your location. That investigator gains 2 resources and draws a card, which honestly seems a lot better than the healing one. And possibly better than the evading one too. Depends on your player count, depends like on how valuable these kinds of effects are to you. We got Truth from Fiction, which, if you can tear your eyes off of those 3 book symbols that are on the side, places 2 secrets among assets controlled by investigators at your location, 3 instead if there's a clue. But yeah, like 3 book symbols, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of book symbols. We got an alternate ancient stone. This one, it does something, for sure. When you draw any number of cards, you can spend that many secrets to move that many times. Alright. Alright. I honestly didn't know this card existed. But it seems fine. It seems fine. You probably want to draw cards already. And who wants to spend their actions moving when you can spend them burning, deduction, investigates?
It also actually kind of seems nice, like if you have a perception under Amanda, and you can like grab 2 clues, and then move, and then grab another clue.
Yeah. And then move again.
And then,
and then never
stop moving.
Yeah. Never not moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Play that card with that stupid shuffle your hand back, then draw that many cards, or draw up to your max hand size. Just like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
But then you move too much and you just come back and you're like, hold on.
Yeah. I ain't finished yet. Play it again.
Yeah. No, we got the World 21. I think that's 21.
Yep.
Pretty sure. Whatever. We're running it as 21. As a lightning bolt, if you have 8 or more cards in your hand, exhaust the World 21 to draw 1 card. Man, if only there was a way to make drawing cards good.
If only.
Yeah, it does cost 3 to play, which is, honestly, for this effect, probably pretty reasonable.
But you can sometimes get it for
reaction,
free.
Yeah, if it's in your opener, you just don't pay for it. It's also not unique, so if you're playing some sort of Weirdsmobile Anna Caslow deck, you can just have 2 of these as your cards and draw like 1,000,000 cards. Is that good? Who knows? Got an Occult Lexicon. This one is better than the level 0 one, but not by like infinite, just better. The difference between this one and the level 0 one is that when you play a copy of Bloodright, you can choose for the 2 on the card to be a 3 or to shuffle it back into your deck. You know, either one of those things is probably pretty good. That card is the card that it's bonded to, the one that's right next to it here, Bloodright. It's very strong.
Yeah.
For 0, you draw 2 cards, then discard up to 2 cards. For each card you discarded, you can either gain a resource or pay 1 resource to deal a damage to an enemy at your location. And for some unknown reason, this also doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah. The ghoul just watches you pick up the death book. He's like, okay.
All right. I see how this is.
Yeah, this one's also like just particularly nice because Amanda, like, she's never like, dang, I wish I had cards to discard to this Bloodright. She's like, take all these. Man, and you know, if you really want to flex on the game, discard your fucking Whispers from the Deep with this. You can't. That's illegal. Before someone on YouTube gets me, you can't do that. That's a war crime.
A thought crime, at least?
No, I think it's all the way up to war. It's a war crime for sure. All right, Travis, this is why the Tommy Muldoon video took us forever. Why don't you take us through the Investigator decks?
Okay. We got our lower level Dusk Examiner here. This is just a worse version. Well, yeah, it's worse, but also lower level version of the core set one. We got Cryptic Writings. This one is nice because it commits for 2 books if you need that to investigate, but also you have a million ways to draw cards, and should you need the money, it's not that difficult to play it for free. We have our upgraded Overpower. I'll talk about the upgraded Perception here as well, where they just give you more symbols and draw you more cards. It's a great place to be. We got Glimpse the Unthinkable, which you draw a card, then shuffle your non-weakness cards from your hand to your deck. This also commits for 2 books and pinch, and lets you kind of recycle your hand if it's full of cards you don't want, or if you're looking for something in particular. And we have our upgrade Esoteric Atlas, which is coming back once again to the fact that to the idea that movement effects are strong for Amanda. An upgrade Cryptic Writings, which has a slightly more flexible pair of symbols, gains you more resources, and is good for basically the same reasons the previous one was. I've got a plan, which is if you really want to take on the flex role or the fighting aspect of Amanda, this is a solid option for that, because you're going to not really have any issues getting book, and it's an easy way to boost up your book score to refuel with a perception or something like that.
Hell yeah. All right. And our last one here is the Necronomicon. This card's
5 books, Justin.
Yeah.
7 books.
Just put it under Amanda. Don't worry about what the card text is blank. Put your hand over the screen right now. That's just 5 book symbols. You can read the card too, but I advise against it. Let's move on to the deck list. Travis, what's this basic Amanda deck we got here?
Yeah, it's basically a pile of skills and ways to draw cards.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, because the majority of them are practice, deduction, perception, plan of action, promise of power, prophesy, vicious blow. So you're gonna curiosity's not. Curiosity's innate, I think, but just magnifying glass is there. William T. Mailson, that's to help you in the Mythos phase because your stats are lower, so you can get rid of something you don't want to. Yeah, there's really not much to say about this deck. It's just skills that do things. Sick. Easy. That's Amanda Sharpe, and next week we are going to a rogue investigator. Do I know who they are? Is it maybe Preston Fairmont? Let me see, I'm just looking. It's Preston Fairmont, and then Luke Robinson the week after that, and then Silas Marsh. Oh my god, Christmas comes early. We're ready to talk about Unrelenting again in, 6 weeks from now. Thank you so much for everyone who's watched. A huge thank you to our patrons. Thank you for being awesome. We love you all, and have a good one. And as always, GG's.